I felt like as my oldest started transitioning from those years where you're meeting at the park, you're talking to the moms about all the things that are going on, you're sharing like the trials and the triumphs, and it feels really community based. Then your kids start to get a little older, and suddenly you don't want to share all those things. Either they're embarrassing to your child, or they're harder than you're really willing to dig into at the moment. And so as my oldest started getting a little older, starting into those like preteen, teen years, and we were going through some different struggles, and I wasn't quite sure how to find community. And so I felt like I was going through those teen years kind of all by myself and muddling through.
Hi there, Soulful Mama. Welcome to the Soul Care Mom podcast. I'm Catherine Wild of soulcaremom.com. I'm a mom of 3 amazing kids, a soul care mom coach, and a yoga and meditation teacher. I've helped hundreds of women, and I'm here to help you feel calm and find your unshakable confidence as a mom. If you're ready to stop living in survival mode and you're ready to drop the mom guilt and overwhelm, this podcast is for you. Think of this as a lunch date with a girlfriend. Grab a cup of tea and get cozy. It's time to get honest and vulnerable and shift the traditional mindset around motherhood. Be sure to subscribe to be the first to know when new episodes are released. Get ready to grow and feel empowered as a mom. I'm here for you, Mama. Let's get started. Do you find yourself struggling to communicate with the teenager in your life? Do you feel like you're speaking different languages even though you're using the same words? You are not alone, and today's episode is tailor-made for you. My guest today is Brooke Romney, mom of 4 boys and author of 52 Modern Manners for Today's Teens. We explore common problems between parents and teenagers, communication skills for teens, how to understand your teenager, and practical strategies to create a dialogue that works. So grab a notepad, find a comfortable spot, and let's take steps towards understanding your teen and truly creating a beautiful relationship with them. These insights might just change the way you approach your teens and transform your family dynamics. You are not going to want to miss this episode. Hi, Brooke. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Catherine. I can't wait to dive into our conversation.
I love all the work that you do, and I'm so excited to really dive into all about teenagers and parenting. And I would love to start by just hearing a little bit of your story. What did you experience in your own parenting that led you to do the beautiful work that you do?
Oh, thank you for asking. I love creating community because I felt like as my oldest started transitioning from those years where you're meeting at the park, you're talking to the moms about all the things that are going on, you're sharing like the trials and the triumphs, and it feels really community based. Then your kids start to get a little older, and suddenly you don't want to share all those things. Either they're embarrassing to your child, or they're harder than you're really willing to dig into at the moment. And so as my oldest started getting a little older, starting into those like preteen, teen years, and we were going through some different struggles, and I wasn't quite sure how to find community. And so I felt like I was going through those teen years kind of all by myself and muddling through. And I kept thinking, where are all the moms of teenagers who are telling me that this is normal, or this is how kids act, or this is how here are some new strategies. And I couldn't find that anywhere. And so as we kind of went through those years, what I realized is I really wanted other moms of tweens and teens to not feel alone as those transition times were coming. And so I'm a writer, and I had created an Instagram page sharing different thoughts about parenting and about motherhood. And that slowly transitioned into a place where we talked a lot about tweens and teens. And it has really been amazing, not just for my community, but also for me to see that we're not alone in our parenting journey. And so it's a place I love to go as a resource, and it's a place I love to have other parents come to so that they feel less alone. Um, as a background, I've got four boys, and my oldest is 20, and 20, 18, 16, and 11.
Oh wow. Are your youngest and my oldest are the same age?
So
um,
you're just starting into this
right.
new section of life.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that because you're so right. No matter what stage we're going through in motherhood or life in general, like it's nice to know that we're not alone in the struggles that we're having and that, building that community is so important. So I love that that is your focus and that's how, yeah, just that gift of bringing people together is so beautiful. Um, so yeah, so can we dive into like what are some of the problems that, between parents and teenagers, like in your work with parents, what are some of the big struggles that they share with you? And why do you think that is? Like yeah, what
Yeah, let's go through a couple of those. I love that question. So the first one that I see is during those transition years, a lot of times parents start to feel and kids start to feel like it's kids versus parents.
mm,
And that is a really big change from younger children where you feel like you're all in it together. And so one of the things I like to help parents understand is that you can still both be on the same team and helping your teen understand that you are still for them. That while the decisions you're making might be a little frustrating to them, or they might not buy into them as easily, whatever we can do as parents to help our kids understand that we are still on their team, that no one wants them to be successful and fulfilled more than their parents do. And so I like to really help parents work on communication and realizing that there's kind of this idea that teenagers go into this phase where they just shut the door to their room and they live separate lives, and I just don't think that that's true. I think that's something that memes and media have kind of blown up, and I think there's a different and a better option. It doesn't mean that you're all sitting around playing Monopoly till all hours of the night and everyone's so happy to be together all the time, but it does mean that there can still be really connective, enriching relationships for both people. Um, and then the other thing, well, there's two more things. The other thing that I think we struggle with is we want to be connected and we want to be kind and supportive and loving. Um, and in doing so, sometimes we forget that we also have to have boundaries, rules, and consequences,
mm,
and that both things help our children feel safe and loved. Not just parents who let them do all the things that they want and just give them lots of hugs, but there's a really important balance between expectations and consequences and the love and kindness and compassion too. And so just kind of the ins and outs of figuring out how to make that work and what that looks like. And then the last one, I probably get more private messages about this one than anyone, is friends.
mm.
Those teen years can be really hard if your kid is struggling with friends, or if your child struggles with some social norms, or not being so shy, or sometimes their friends leave them, those things. And I would say that's kind of at the top of the list for parents and things they worry about with teenagers.
Oh yeah. Oh, so many things that I want to explore. I love that you talked about, the memes and like the idea that we have around teenagers. Like that kind of automatically sets us up to separate ourselves from them, right? Versus connecting with them and being on the same team, like we do as, when they're children and we work together and yeah, all the things. Um, and there's that kind of sense of dread that people seem to associate with parenting teens. But with all ages, there are different gifts and there's different challenges. And I'd love to hear more about your perspective. What are some of the most difficult parts and then some of the most fulfilling aspects of parenting tweens and teens that you found?
That's a great question. So, one of the most difficult things is that every teenager is so different. And so, even though I am now on my fourth teen, each one of them has been a completely different challenge. And what worked with one doesn't work as well with the others. And so, feeling like you're starting over all the time can be a little overwhelming. Another thing that can be difficult is there are very legitimate hormones and things that are outside of our control and our family's control that will influence our teens more than, say, younger children. So sometimes I think we feel like we're battling on multiple fronts, and I think that that can be really tricky and overwhelming. The hormone thing, sometimes teens are legitimately angry and frustrated and hard to get along with. Um, there are teens who want to push against every rule, and that is part of their personality. And you may have seen that from the time they were 2 years old, and so them pushing against a bedtime at 2 is a little different than them pushing against, something that is keeping them safe at 16, so a little more at stake there. So there are very real challenges, and I don't like to downplay that, because I think I wanted to feel less alone when we were going through challenges. But when you look on the outside, it looks like all the families have it together and their teens are doing fine. The more I've gotten to know more families, every kid at some point during their teenage years struggles. Some might be a little easier to see and some are harder to see, but understanding that everyone goes through some trying times. And I think as a parent, it's helpful to prepare yourself for that, as you said, not with dread, but with a willingness to say, I am fully equipped to be the parent that my child needs. And if I'm not, there are resources to help me become that parent. Um, that was really helpful when I realized that I don't have to be everything, but that there are resources in my life that I can turn to when things feel overwhelming. And I like to encourage people, and parents especially, to not wait until you feel like, everything's a mess. But along the way, if you're seeing, we're having a little struggle, looking for a parenting class, reading a book, jumping online and asking a question, getting professional help, all those things are really important. When it comes to what we can look forward to in the teenage years, I have to say that I do not look back and wish I still had toddlers. I love having teenagers. They are interesting to talk to. They have great ideas. They keep me humble and give me a lot of feedback, which I think is good for who I am and who I want to become. It's also been so fun because we enjoy similar movies, activities, music, and they've been able to introduce a lot of really cool things to me that I now really enjoy. And so I think that there is so much for parents to look forward to in the teenage years, and balancing that with, and there will be some tough times that you can absolutely get through together.
Oh, I love all of that, and I can already see that, like, as my kids are getting older, like, the conversations are so interesting and, like, hearing about, like, their perspective around something and just yeah, um, so much to look forward to, and like you said, I love that, I think a lot of times we feel like, "Oh, we need to know it all, we need to have it all figured out," and sometimes looking at social media or just looking, from the outside, you know, into another family's world, like, it seems like they may have it all put together, um, but we're all human and we're all, figuring this out together. So I love that, you mentioned that and that, you bring community together because that is so important in learning, like, oh, okay, this is an idea. Maybe we can try this, or oh, I'm not alone in this, or it's okay for me to have big feelings, or my child for it to have big feelings. Do you feel overwhelmed and anxious? Do you wish you could stop losing your temper with your kids and just have more fun as a mom? Do you crave finding more time to do the things you love without feeling guilty? I get it, Mama. I've been there. That's why I created the Vibrant Mom Life membership. Imagine what life would look like if you could finally get out of survival mode, consistently find time for yourself, and be the calm, present mom you've always wanted to be. This membership will help you step out of anxiety and overwhelm and help you find time for yourself without the guilt. Inside Vibrant Mom Life, you'll find monthly themes that will help you shift your mindset, get out of survival mode, and find time for the things you love, all while being the mom you want to be. Plus, you'll find guided meditations and yoga practices that will help you effortlessly infuse your days with self-care. And I know that some days are harder than others, so you'll even find a library of short and sweet guided affirmations so you can simply press play and reconnect with your inner calm in just minutes. Join Vibrant Mom Life today by going to soulcaremom.com/membership so you can stop running on empty and truly enjoy mom life. I can't wait to welcome you inside, Mama. And you had
Yes.
mentioned like communication skills for teens. So, being a teenager, like I remember going through that, it's such a pivotal transformational time in our journey as humans, and communication can be so important, whether it's with our parents or with other or for teens, right? With parents or with other peers. But what are your tips around like communication skills for teens? Do you have anything for us there?
Yes, so I am really passionate about helping teens figure out how to live successful lives. And in doing that, I wrote two books, 52 Modern Manners for Today's Teens, Volume 1 and 2. And there are so many tips in there that deal with being a good communicator. A few that come to mind is helping our teens understand how to introduce themselves. If
Mm.
you know how to introduce yourselves, you will never feel lonely. And that is a skill you can use all the way through adulthood. Another one that we talk about a lot is how to start a conversation. And in the book, I have a really easy formula. It's make an observation and then ask a question. I think sometimes teens blow things up, get anxious about how hard something is, when really it's very simple. Oh, I love your hair. Is it naturally curly? That's making an observation, asking a question. And that's a way to open doors to communication. Another thing that we talk about a lot is reading the room, understanding, if your friend didn't make the basketball team and you're all together, it's not a great time to talk about how fun the basketball season's going to be this year. There's a better time to talk about that with a different audience. Sometimes they need to understand how to keep a conversation going. Just having some questions in their back pocket about, okay, you're alone with this friend or you're on your first date and there's just a lot of silence. What can I say? And there's a few questions that you can pull out. So you say, so what's your favorite meal that you've ever had? And that gets a conversation going. So there's a lot of things that we can do to help our kids be good communicators. Another one that I'm thinking of in the book is advocate for yourself at school, helping our kids be brave enough to say, hey, I noticed that you marked this wrong on my test, and can you help me understand why this is wrong? It looks right to me. Or, my family's going through a really difficult time right now, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get that essay done. Is there any way I can get an extension for next week? So there's so many ways that we can help our kids become good communicators, and giving them the confidence that they'll know how to do it, that they don't have to be worried because they have. I think sometimes as parents we want to just, push our kids into the world and hope that they can do it all, and that feels very overwhelming. And so giving them kind of this scaffolding with steps and scripts and things they can fall back on is really helpful. Um, when it comes to communicating as a parent to a teenager, I have so many ideas for this, and different ways to connect. But one of the things that has really worked well in our family is to, instead of having a lot of sit down conversations, is conversing while doing. And this is especially helpful for parents who have boys, but I can get a lot better conversation going rebounding a basketball for my son than I can saying, come sit with me at the table and let's look at each other eye to eye and have something very serious come up. Or gaming next to him and just throwing out, hey, I noticed that your school said that this was going on. We got a letter about it. Is there a lot of vaping going on? Do you have friends that are vaping? Tell me about that. Is that something that you're interested in? Is that something that's tempting to you? And it feels much less serious, and then they're more willing to engage. Um, so that's one tip for communicating. If I have a few more, another one is to just get involved in the things that they love. So even if you don't love it. So if your daughter is really into all the new makeup trends and you love a fresh face and you don't want her to think that she needs a lot of makeup, but she's really into it, you're going to close lines of communication by constantly telling her every time she's trying a new makeup tutorial that she doesn't need makeup and that, all those things. Instead, jump in with her. Wow, how do you do eyeliner like that? I've been trying for 20 years to figure that out. You're so good at it. Show me how that happens. And it doesn't mean that you can't still share your values. It doesn't mean that you can't still say, just so you know, you are gorgeous with eyeliner and without eyeliner. I think it's fun that you have a creative outlet through makeup. That's really fun for you. So those are two, little tips that I like to share that can make things a little easier to open lines of communication with your teen.
Oh, I love that so much. And um, yeah, just that, like, I think even as adults, like we sometimes going into conversations, we make things more complicated than they are, right? It's this just this simple connecting. And the other person is probably having the same thoughts, so just like having that way to bridge the gap of, hey, like I want to get to know you and who you are, and starting with a simple connection and question and observation. Um, Great for everybody. I love that. And I wish I had all of these tips as a teenager. Like so beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Um, and I love that too, like how would we connect with a friend, and as our kids get older, right? If we want to create that friendship, like we would be interested in what they have to share and what they're into and like all the things. So I love this so much. Um,
Yeah.
I know another like really big topic for parents of teens is navigating like technology. It's such a big part of our lives. And what advice do you have for parents to help them to choose what's best for their kids when it comes to technology?
Oh man, Catherine, I could talk about this for hours, but I will just summarize a couple of things that I feel like have been really helpful. So, my oldest was 20, which was the wild west of smartphones. He kind of came into that 12, 13-year-old age group when there were no options. You either had a cell phone or you didn't. It was very difficult, and we learned a lot from doing things the wrong way with him. And so, a couple tips that I have for parents is going slowly. There is no rush to get a cell phone, a smartphone, to be on social media. You will feel a lot of pressure, like they'll be left out of everything, that they won't have an opportunity to connect. And while that might be true in those younger years, that the socializing will be a little more difficult, there's chances of them being left out. We've done it both ways, and I will choose to be a little left out at ages 11, 12, 13, all day long, over exposing someone to technology they're not ready for. I think that is such a harder hurdle to get over. And in fact, my 11-year-old was just begging for a smartphone, and both my boys, who are 18 and 16, turned to him and said, because he said, "You guys, come on, be on my team." And they were like, "We would never, ever want you to have a cell phone that young, ever." And these are teenagers. So we really delaying and taking baby steps. There's some really great kind of, we call them dumb phones, where you can't get on the internet, you can't have social media. And those are great ways to introduce the communication aspect to your kids, going slowly. Yes, I have a post that says, if I don't get my kids a smartphone, won't they be left out? And I say, yes, they will be left out, but they're going to be left out of a lot of garbage. In addition to some of the fun things, they're going to be left out of a lot of the hard things that you wouldn't want them to be a part of anyway. I like to remind people that kids need time for their brain to develop so that they can make good decisions with technology. And we want to give our kids that time to develop. We want to give our kids time to become who they are and who they want to be, without an audience of their peers on social media telling them that what they like is stupid, how they look is ugly. No one needs that. No one needs that at 11, 12, 13, 14. And then we need to give them the opportunity to grow up and become who they want to be and who they really are, without having to deal with all of that all of the time. And so I I'm the first one to say it's a difficult decision. And every time they say, oh, everyone has this, your heart kind of hurts a little bit, but it's something that I think is worth sticking to as their development is more important than being included or being cool or whatever that is from the beginning. So delaying is a really great idea, starting slowly. And then once they have a cell phone, continuing open conversations, reminding them that the cell phone is yours, you pay for it, it's under your name, and you need passcodes, you need to be able to get into it anytime you need to, but also that we're on the same team. So it's not me versus you and your cell phone. It's the two of us versus what technology wants you to spend your time doing. You know, the algorithms are smarter than any of us are. They know how to suck us in. They know how to prey on, the least desirable sides of who we are. And I just like to be really open with my teenagers about that, and that what they encounter is often not their fault. And I'm here for them anytime something feels too heavy, too big, or too deep. And it's not going to be a big punishment moment, but we're going to talk about it and we're going to find solutions together. Um, I think helping older teenagers understand that you just want them to be able to be successful, to be fulfilled, to be happy, and spending 9 hours a day, which is I think the average that a teenager spends on technology, is not a good recipe for living a life like that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, that was so insightful. And I just think about myself, like I reach for my phone often to check, is there a message? Is there an email that I need to respond to? So, and, I recently heard that our brains don't fully finish developing until we're like 25. So, I
Yes.
mean, there's no rush really. And we're all prey sort of to this algorithm, right? Like the technology is so easy to use. It's so addictive. And it's such a beautiful thing in so many ways. Like it connects us and all these things. But I love that you shared that you can start with the dumb phone that allows us to stay connected with our children without introducing them to everything in one go. And then delaying. Yeah, those are such like really beautiful things, like the idea that they're missing out, but what are they really missing out on, right? We're actually maybe giving them the gift of becoming, like you said, who they are and really staying connected with themselves. There's so many messages outside of us telling us who we should be, what we should be doing, how we should show up, and what is it that would really feel fulfilling to us, right? And giving them that gift and that space to navigate that with you. Yeah, thank
I
you for
love
that.
I just love the way you said that. I really am so passionate about letting our kids be the age that they really are, and giving them that time to develop. And so I just love the way you said that, and wanted to just add one more thing is that I when you talked about how, you as an adult, you fall prey to that. And those are such great conversations for us to have as our kids do get cell phones and do get social media, helping them understand that they're not alone in this struggle. And I always tell my boys, like, I am in my 40s, I'm educated, I know what's important. I study parenting and technology. And if I get on my phone at 10:30 without a screen time and without a hard stop, there is a chance I am scrolling until 12:30. And it has nothing to do with me not being disciplined or not being a good person. It's just how addictive this technology is. And so really helping them understand, this is all of us. This is a problem we all struggle with, which is why, as a parent, I'm going to give you rules. I'm going to give you parameters. I'm going to have you plug your phone into my room at night, all those things, because we want them to get enough rest, and we want them to have enough social time, and we want them to exercise, and we want them to have time in nature, because those things are going to help them feel happy and fulfilled in a way that a phone can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I love what you're sharing, and it's so true for all of us. That time in nature just it fills me up too. Just those moments to slow down, to connect with the people around you, which is hard to do when you're looking at a screen. So beautiful. And so I'm just loving this conversation and all of the things. If there's a mom listening right now and she's like excited to navigate her relationship with her teen, just, to create some shifts, but she's still feeling a bit overwhelmed. What would you say to her? Where should she start?
So one of my mantras is it's never too late. So
Mm-hmm.
it's never too late to become the parent that you want to be because all children want connection with their parents. So if you feel like, oh, I've done everything wrong, we're not connected, I gave him a phone at 10, all these things, it's never too late. And one of the things that I suggest is as a parent, you go to your child and you say, hey, I made a mistake. I didn't know what this smartphone would bring to your life or to our family's life. And as a parent, I am supposed to protect you and allow you to develop in a way that's best for you. And so we're going to scale back. And whatever it is, whatever that means, we're going to take social media off the phone. We're going to take the internet off the phone. We're going to have times as a family where the phone isn't part of our life because I want you to be able to live like a 10-year-old or like an 11-year-old. If someone is struggling with connection, doing the exact same thing, going to them and saying, you know what? This isn't the relationship that I want with you through your teenage years. I want to be better. You tell me, what can I do? What can I do so that we can be more connected? And maybe you can brainstorm together, or maybe you come with some ideas like, can we take Wednesday afternoons as our time together and we're going to go just grab a soda and chat? Or maybe it's, I haven't been as supportive of you and the things you love as I should have been. I just want you to know that every time I can, I will be at your hockey game. Or I decided I want our drives in the car to practice to be phone free for both of us. So let's put those down and like let's use it to talk. I think parents have to remember that even when our kids act like they don't care, they really do want connection with us. And so as we go to them with an open heart and an open spirit, and we say, this is what I want. I love you. I want to connect. I want to be someone that you want to come to, teach me. And then being willing to say, call me out if we get to a bad place again. Call me out if you feel like every time I'm around you, I'm on my phone. Like that's not what a connected parent would do. So I need you to remind me that we're supposed to be connecting, or that dinner time is a time for us to have a conversation, whatever that is. But I think most parents will find that their teen is eager and willing, even if it takes a little bit of time, even if they don't jump right in, that in the end, that having a relationship with their parents is something that every child wants.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we want, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's such an important connection, and to feel seen and loved by your parent is, we all crave that. So, yeah, I love that you shared that, and to show up with an open heart and an open mind and let your child know, like, I'm human too. And, I'm sorry, this isn't the way that I wanted it to go either. How can we make this better? It's a relationship just like any other, right? Like, there's going to be ups and downs, and navigating it together. What a beautiful journey. Um, and okay, so I love helping moms embrace self-care, and I would love to hear, for me it's been this, it's life-changing, right? To really take care of yourself so you can show up the way that you want to for your children and to model that for them. I'd love to hear what your experience has been with self-care. What are your self-care practices that you love?
So I love to be outside. And so I've been pretty diligent about going on a walk, appreciating nature. That's really important to me. And then the other thing that I have found that maybe is different from some, but being able to connect with someone every day as your kids get older and they, need you a little bit less and you have less opportunity to get together with other women, that can really go by the wayside. I'm not attending play dates anymore. We don't meet at the park anymore. Our kids are all older. And so being really intentional about choosing time to connect with other women has been really important to me. And it's one of those things that I notice when I'm not doing it. Sometimes it's even just by phone. And I know some people, don't love phone calls anymore, but that has been really key for me to be able to keep in touch with people I love and feel really connected without always needing to, go to lunch or take a walk. Like sometimes that can be done in 15-minute increments where I feel connected and seen and loved. And so both of those things are ways that I feel like I really care for my soul.
Oh, thank you for sharing those. Yeah. Yeah, and it comes back to that connection and community piece again, right? Yeah, I love that. And definitely being in nature, like sometimes I just need a moment and I'll step outside and just like listen to the birds, feel the sun, and it is so soul nourishing, so grounding. Thank you for sharing those. And thank you for sharing everything. I would love to know, if you could go back in time to when you first became a mom, what wisdom would you share with yourself? What would you want her to know?
I think if I could go back, there's a few things, but one of them that really sticks out to me is that you're going to have good times and bad times, and really lean in to those good times. Stretch the good time. Be fully present for that, and be really grateful for it. And then that I am capable of walking through the hard. There is actually nothing that I can't get through with my husband, with kids, as long as we're leaning on each other, leaning on God, there's nothing that we can't figure out together. There's times when I just thought, oh, I could never deal with that. Oh, that sounds so hard. As you're looking to, the group of women that's ahead of you, and you're seeing some of the hard things that they're going through. So really stretching and being present for the good, and then realizing that I am absolutely capable of getting through anything that's hard.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I know that it resonates with me, and I know it's gonna just fill so many moms up. So thank you for sharing that. And this was beautiful and wonderful. And I appreciate you so much. Can you let us know where we can find you online?
Yes, thank you. I just have a gift with making people feel so seen and heard, and you're doing such a good job with this podcast. So this was so fun. I'm really active on Instagram. My community is Brooke Romney Writes, and we love having people join us there. And then my books, 52 Modern Manners for Today's Teens, Volume 1 and 2. And then the new one for kids is coming out. These are flip books that stand up. The kids one is really interactive with role plays that you can do. They've just been so incredible for so many families, and excited to share those. And those are on Amazon.
That's so fun. We'll share those in the show notes. Everybody can connect with you and find your amazing books. Thank you so much for being here and sharing all of your wisdom with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me, Mama. I'm over here smiling from ear to ear and giving you a big virtual hug. I love spending this time with you. You are amazing for showing up and carving out this space to nourish your soul. If you are loving the Soul Care Mom podcast, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. And if you are ready to start your mornings feeling calm and energized, get the Kickstart Your Calm Morning Guide, a self-care morning ritual for moms, as a free gift when you join the Soul Care Mom community. Head over to soulcaremom.com/kickstart and enter your email address to get your free gift and start feeling like a calm mom today. Sending you so much love, Mama.